Now, more of Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project, the only show directly addressing the problems and solutions for Illinois. Now, from AM 560, here's Dan Proft.
Dan and Brian back in this edition of Rising and picking up on our conversation about some of the congressional races, Hultgren with State Representative Mark Batnick and Roscom with State Representative Jeannie Ives. President Trump this week at a press conference that was muy entertaining talked about the people running for congressional seats who welcome the embrace, the Trump embrace, Vito Corleone style, as well as those who did not. And there were prominent Illinois names mentioned by the President of the United States. One to the negative, two to the positive. Here's President Trump.
Candidates who embraced our message of low taxes, low regulations, low crime, strong borders, and great judges excelled last night. They excelled. They really, I mean, we have a list of people that were fantastic. And I'm just going to point them out. Mike Bost.
Ding.
Rodney Davis.
Ding.
Andy Barr was fantastic. I went to Kentucky. For the most part, I didn't campaign for the House, but I did actually make a special trip for Andy Barr because he was in a very tough race in Kentucky, and he won. That was a very tough race. The polls were all showing that he was down, and down substantially, and he won. And that one I did do. Pete Stauber of Minnesota, great guy, he's new, and ran a fantastic race. On the other hand, you had some that decided to, let's stay away. They did very poorly. I'm not sure that I should be happy or sad, but I feel just fine about it. Carlos Cubella, Mike Kaufman. Too bad, Mike.
Too bad, Mike.
Mia Love. I saw Mia Love. She'd call me all the time to help her with a hostage situation, being held hostage in Venezuela. But Mia Love gave me no love, and she lost. Too bad. Sorry about that, Mia. And Barbara Comstock was another one. I mean, I think she could have won that race, but she didn't want to have any embrace. For that, I don't blame her. But she lost, substantially lost. Peter Roscom
Ding.
didn't want the embrace. Eric Paulson didn't want the embrace. And in New Jersey, I think he could have done well, but didn't work out too good. Bob Eugen, I feel badly because I think that's something that could have been won. That's a race that could have been won.
So you get it. Roscom, Bost, and Davis all mentioned. Bost and Davis win, Roscom loses, and the conventional wisdom, of course, is that Davis and Bost are downstate Republicans, more friendly territory to Trump, more Republican territory than the suburbs. And so even though Peter Roscom is being criticized by the president for not welcoming the embrace, that was the right thing to do politically, whereas Bost and Rodney Davis embracing the president was the right thing for them to do politically. That's a conventional wisdom. Do you agree?
Look, I can't take all the excuses. You know, voters don't like sheepish. They don't like people who apologize, people who back into positions. They don't like people who try to be all things to all people, Dan. Like in Chicago, we like Sox fans, we like Cubs fans. People who like both, we don't like. And in politics, it's the same way. And I think a lot of these politicians, they thought, I'm a Republican, the president's a Republican, and I'm going to try to kind of be supportive of him and in some of his policies, but I don't like the guy, as opposed to just being their own person and being assertive and being direct about what they believe, right? Get people to support you for who you are. Look, Larry Hogan wins in a rout in Maryland. It's a much bluer state than this is.
Charlie Baker
wins in Massachusetts. And these guys are assertive. They take hard positions. They're not afraid to say what they believe. And when you kind of try to hang around and win the Republican kind of base just by being a Republican, you're going to lose. Be your own. Be a person. Don't just be a a red dot on the congressional map.
And then how would you handle Trump if you're Peter Roskam in the suburbs? Because and
Say
for
what we just said.
the legislative candidates too that are all being demagogued with Trump, as you saw on your television in your mailbox.
Lead people in the right direction, right? I don't know how many times I hear this from friends in the neighborhood. I don't like Trump. I don't like him. I don't like the way he talks to people.
Right.
But you have to, okay, great. But you have to say, what policy do you disagree with? Understand, in politics, it's not, you're being devoured by the personality. Focus on the binary choice you have and the policies. We win on policy. Our policies are right. Theirs are wrong, right? When we let ourselves become blinded by, the beauty of Obama or the cantankerousness of Trump, we're missing the forest for the trees.
Well, I agree with that, but penetrating that, I mean, you essentially have to have an army of people, in addition to the candidate, that go out and make that argument. And the candidate, frankly, isn't going to make that argument. Trump is not making the argument. You can dislike me, and a lot of people dislike me in the way I communicate. That's not something Trump has not said and will never say. But the candidate could say that and then dispatch people who are going to say that too, to engage their circles of influence and talk to sort of the passively informed voter to sort of recast their perspective on what should be motivating their vote. People
want to be led, Dan. We've heard this over and over again about the Caston race and the Underwood race. They had ground games. They knocked on doors. These are socialist people who have without accomplishment. I mean, Lauren Underwood lives in her parents' basement, has never had a private sector job, made up this whole story about being a nurse. And she will walk up to you and say, support me to be your leader to go make decisions in the most important elected body in the world. She's not afraid to say it. So why is Peter Roskam or Randy Hultgren afraid to say, look, Donald Trump's policies are great and they're helping this country, and you need to get beyond the style and be supportive of me and those policies, and that's why you're going to do it. You have to say it to people's face, and they're not afraid. We need to stop being afraid.